So Auntie rarely goes live, so TT don't always know what to expect or what to do. But I'm assuming we just give people like a minute to get in because I did hit the start button at 5:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that part. And I ended up going to happy hour earlier, so I'm gonna keep it cute. Hey love, how you doing? Um, just giving it a minute so we can see who shows up before I start talking so that I don't have to endlessly repeat myself because I hate endlessly repeating myself. And I do have my very festive background, which is actually my room. And when I say festive, that's totally sarcastic. And my son is on his way in. So, hi, welcome up. All right, come on, coming up. Oh, he's angry. This is Pharaoh. Oh, you didn't want to be picked up. Is that what's going on? So, this is the man in my life, my sweet baby Pharaoh. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start talking because again, I went to happy hour earlier, which I probably shouldn't have done, but I'm also really hungry as a result. So I'm gonna do my thing, and we're gonna get it moving. So thanks for coming. There will be obviously a replay. I just kind of wanted to show my face and say, hey y'all, I'm back. Um, it's been a while. I've been out of commission since what, maybe 2023. And we are now in the year of our Lord 2026. And I just really wanted to kind of like explain myself. So before any of this even like started, I had like sworn to myself that I would like never talk about this ever again. I was just gonna forget that it happened. And then as I kind of got like deeper into and out of the trenches, I realized that it probably actually is a good thing to talk about. So in 2023, I'm gonna try to start at the beginning without, trauma bonding. Um, we're in 2023, so I took a job teaching music in the district, and it was cool. That was not my first go round teaching. I've been certified as a teacher since 2011. And for a minute, I had taught in North Carolina and then moved back up here. It was like, no, this ain't for me and stopped. And then didn't do it for maybe like 10 years. And then it got to the point where I was like looking at all my options and I saw they paying what? And so I said, fantastic. Let me dust this license off and get back in the groove, get back in the classroom. So that's what I did. And in some ways it was a really good idea, but in a lot of ways it was not a really good idea. Um, I took a K-8 music teaching position and it was so chaotic thanks to my shitty administration. I'll just say that. Um, that it was so unpredictable and it like had so much wear and tear on my central nervous system, right? So much wear and tear. I started day zero doing everything that I knew to do. I was the most hydrated person at the job. I was, using amplification. I was warmed up every day. I was like on voice rest when I wasn't talking. And because I had so much going on from an autoimmune space as well that I didn't even know about. Um, long story short, all of that day to day plus that stress started really having some nasty vascular effects in the vocal tract. So it got to the point, where a year and a half in, I was just hemorrhaging vocally all the time. So I was always on voice rest. It became really, really hard for me to do my job. I actually went on FMLA for an entire quarter. because I literally could not do my job and I was trying to avoid a surgery. And I'm hemorrhaging all over the place. One of the hemorrhages creates, unbeknownst to me, a polyp, right? Which is the worst thing that could like happen to a singer. And so, I go in and, my very experienced, awesome doctor is like, girl, that's a polyp. And I said, I don't think I said anything. Like I was like real composed. And then I got in the car and like had a whole breakdown because I knew that it meant that most likely the only way that I was going to get rid of said polyp was getting vocal surgery. And I was like, as a classical singer, that is like, you really don't want that to happen at all, right? It's almost like someone gave you a letter that says, okay, your career over now. Go do something else. Um, so I had gotten, in my mind, with this vocal fold polyp, that I was like, dang, I gotta get, surgery for it. But, let me try to, because again, I had been out of work. At one point, my PTO ran out. So I didn't know when I was getting paid, if I was getting paid. I think at one point I had not received a paycheck in about 6 to 8 weeks. And I'm big grown and I got way too many bills to not receive any kind of check. So paycheck to paycheck was definitely me. So, you know, that diagnosis was in the spring. And it was from a combination of, and the singing wasn't the problem, it was the constant talking that I had to do, even with amplification, even with voice therapy, even with super hydration, even with voice rest. It was just too much talking. And then again, I had a really shitty admin. So it was extremely stressful at the time. So all me, all day, I'm like this, carrying around stress. And all of this is, doing this all day. And, you know, as a woman, you already have more um, vocal effects anyway throughout a lifetime because of the hormones and all this other stuff. So I got all types of crazy stuff going on. Um, so anywho, at the time I'm like, dang, let me just go out and while I'm out, let me just use this summer to make some extra money. So I scheduled my surgery for August and I was working June through August. Um, it was a singing teaching job and I struggled, but I had an assistant who was awesome. So they did a lot of the modeling and I just was like, cool, I did what I could do and I wasn't pushing anything. We get to August. They scoped me about a week or two before the surgery, which is common practice. And this time, the last time, which I had pictures, I do, but I ain't pulling up my chart right now. Okay. The first time I got scoped, it was just a polyp because I was hemorrhaging all over the place. Like I would take certain medication, hemorrhage. I would get my period every month, hemorrhage. It was just really bad. Now, in addition to it being one polyp on one side, which is like that juicy blister looking bump, because I was a high voice user and your vocal cords constantly do this, they're bumping up and rubbing up against each other. The other side developed what was called like a reactive nodule. So I had like two things going on both sides, which was even more of a nightmare than it started off being. So my amazing doctor was like, I have to wait till I get in there, in surgery to see whether you just need one cut or if you need two cuts. And by the way, I am going to cauterize your blood vessels that keep hemorrhaging, which are causing you to have these polyps. I'm like, okay. So, we get to surgery, and I was told about a 3 to 4 month recovery period, which was already hard enough. But I was kind of like, I kind of got to do it now because it's not getting any better. It's actually getting a little worse. So I go in, it goes well, two cuts on both sides. Could not talk at all for like the first week. It was like standard practice. I go in for my 1 week post op and they scope you and they make you do all these vocal exercises, and one fold is like moving, like still very swollen, right? Moving. The other one was like stiff, like moving like that. It's not supposed to happen. Both of them are supposed to do this, right? So I can't even do it right. You got one going this way and then one doing starting to form a wave. And so my ENT, I looked at him and he, did a good job keeping it under wraps. He was like, okay, I think it just needs more time, right? So you get so many follow-ups after that, surgical period. And every time I went back, I just was not healing, which was totally unexpected, totally surprising, and frankly horrifying because again, just having this condition says, go ahead and fold, sis. Like you got to find another job. And I'm like, I've wrapped my whole life, my identity, my finances in being a singer. What the heck I'm supposed to do if I'm not a singer? Like, what the heck? So, we keep getting out and out and out. And then, there's more post ops. And my healing was going 90,000 times slower than the average person's. And it was extremely stressful. At this time, I was not medicated for mental health and should have been medicated for mental health. I had a therapist that insisted I had no problems, had to get a new one. Um, but every time I went to the ENT to be scoped, it just was not right. I just, it wasn't that I wasn't healing at all. It was so slow that it was like, are you doing anything? And if you are, like, pick it up. So what should have been a 90 to 120-day recovery period turned into 2 years. I ended up finding out about maybe 6 months in, when I finally was getting diagnosed from a mental health perspective, right? And my wonderful psychiatric nurse practitioner, made me do some blood tests to see where all of my levels were. And we found out that I was like extremely anemic. Like, I don't know how I was awake. And I had the signs. I wasn't cold, but I was just tired all the time. I was moody, couldn't remember anything. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Turned out that I was like extremely anemic. And she prescribed me some iron pills. I started taking the iron pills. Within about a week or two, it's like my voice healing started picking up. You can't heal when you ain't got no blood in your body. And apparently I was anemic. So that started fixing some of the problem. Um, at this point, it was clear for me to go back to singing, but I had so many holes in my range. I could sing obnoxiously high, like Mariah Carey whistle high, but my middle was shot and my low was non-existent, which was completely, opposite what I was used to. So I'm, back in lessons. I'm still in speech therapy, and I'm, just going on and on and on and on and on. And my surgeon clears me to go back to singing, and I'm looking at him like he has like three eyes. Like, the fuck are you talking about? I'm not going back to singing. Like, have you heard me lately? So there's a combo of depression, severe depression going on. Um, I had found another job, which I still am at, which I really enjoy, working remote and in instructional design. So it's like corporate adult education. Um, I've got that going on. And then I'm like, not only has all of that taken a hit, but my bag is like non-existent as well, right? So I'm like thousands of dollars in credit card debt where I was actually decent, beforehand. Um, so that led me down another business path. If you saw me with a photo booth rental company, that was why. I needed something different to do and I needed some autonomy. Um, and I just kind of kept, chugging along very slowly along this healing path. About 2 months ago, I asked my homegirl Chatisha, aka Chat GPT. I explained my situation and how I, was curious if I was really deficient on certain micronutrients, and what would an athlete take to recover from an injury that requires surgery because, we're vocal athletes. And, she spat this list out to me. And I was like, okay, well, I'm already on iron. We already know I'm anemic. And it told me, you probably need some magnesium. And I was like, okay. I had started back taking vitamin D, D3, because I was anemic on that as well. And vitamin B as well, because I was anemic there too. So I started taking magnesium. Within about 2 weeks, that closed up a lot of vocal issues. So between voice lessons, micronutrients, getting back on a hydration routine, except for today because I had tequila. Um, I got I got my confidence back and decided to take up a sub gig at a church. And the director was like, "Hey, can you lead service on this one particular Sunday?" And my brain was like, "No, we ain't singing solo. Like I had in a choir, but you got me messed up." And I was like, "Okay." Um, and I worked through the music with my voice teacher. And won't you know that I went in and I did it, and I almost had a breakdown. I ain't gonna hold you up. It was so anxiety inducing. Um, but I got it done, and it actually was fine. And that's what made me say, I can really just drop all the extra miscellaneous stuff I'm doing, and I can just go ahead back to teaching voice and then picking up gigs here and there. So long story short, that's where I've been in a spiral, a downward but upward spiral. Again, initially I was like, I ain't never talking about this to nobody ever. I don't care who asked me. I'm gonna act like this never happened. So you never saw a post about me going through that. I just went dark, completely dark. People that knew me knew, but I went missing on a lot of people too. Um, Nothing personal, just I wasn't medicated yet. So now I can manage. I'm medicated real good, but I could not manage back then. There was too much going on. Um, Even in my downward spiral, where I thought I had to completely switch my whole life course. Like, you know, my degrees are in voice. What you mean I can't sing? This is what I have not just been doing my whole life, but I've wrapped up my identity in that. What do you mean that's not who I am anymore? Um, a super existential crisis. Um, but in that downward spiral, I realized that at the end of the day, my identity is more so of a creator than it is a singer. And regardless of how I'm gonna choose to do things, right, I can still get them done and not be negatively impacted. And things happen to people every day. You have people who, one day they have a thriving career in something that involves, their entire physical body, and then the next day they're in a car accident, and then they're being told they're quadriplegics. Shit happens, right? And you have to be able to, you know, deal with it and adapt to it and move on. Even, I follow a lot of people online. I don't know how my algorithm got there, but I follow a lot of extremely young people who, were extremely active, had great careers, complete independent living, boom, diagnosed with ALS. Like anything can happen. So, the question is not why me, is why not me, right? And so once I kind of started digging into that, you get a little bit deeper into your purpose. Another thing that I realized in my previous life, pre-surgery, right? So we got pre-surgery and then post-surgery, right? Um, Even though I was consistently singing and consistently doing the musical things, I was so stressed out and overworked, it wasn't even funny. So I didn't even enjoy anything. And there are moments that I should remember, achievements that I should remember. And because my brain was so overwhelmed by the task lining of each of those things, I don't remember them. Everything is dark. Everything is like, oh, I did that. Like I literally have minimal, uh memory based on some of those things. And so that tells me, what was I even doing it for? So that leads me today to where the studio is headed. Because if I got nothing else from my past 2+ year experience, is that I cannot do things the same exact way. Um, I can't be burnt out, I can't be overworked, and I can't be frustrated by something I love to do. So with that, I have two, but really three offerings that are on the horizon that I will be talking about more, posting about more, taking questions about. Um, One of my biggest exciting offerings is that I am hosting an 8-week live in person workshop in Corktown at a location that people receive if they register for what I'm calling the Divas Workshop, right? Um, we're going to teach all the things. We're going to teach a lot of technical. We're going to do runs. We're going to do style. We're going to do interpretation. We're going to do um, all the stuff that you would get in class, but we're going to do it over the course of 1.5 hours over the span of 8 weeks. And I am only capping that registration to be only 8 people because that is the max of people that I can see while still giving them adequate individualized attention, but still having a small enough supportive group and cohort of people that they can move and learn with. So if you know anything about me, if I can't do nothing else, I can teach and I can organize teaching. So that is coming up. I'm launching that. The cost is essentially it would be less than one voice lesson with me per session, right? And I will be offering payment plans and my homegirls BNPL, buy now, pay later. So that's the Klarna or the Afterpay, whatever is eligible for folks because I be paying their rent. So yeah. So I'm really excited about that workshop. It's going to really unlock some different things for people, and it's really going to allow me to serve more people in one space at a convenient time in a I hate to say this, it's overused, but in a safe space. And there will be a performance component. So for people who have had a difficult time being consistent in lessons for the long term, or who cannot really afford lessons, this is the opportunity for you, right? Because we'll still go really in depth and we'll still do all of the things that we would do one on one, but we're going to be in that small group, right? And there'll still be levels of accountability. And I'm showing up all the way, right, in that entire process. So I will be announcing the opening of the Divas Workshop again. It'll be opening up for registration by next week, but we will start in March, right? And then there will be a set schedule, set assignments, set curriculum to look forward to. So I'm super excited about the Divas Workshop. The second offering that I am opening up, and I'm not certain how often, but I know I at least want to do one day a week. I've been inspired by one of my singer friends who um, started a pay what you can lesson day. So time's hard. People that lost their jobs. You got people who never were making enough at their job to begin with. I am extremely liberal and I'm extremely socialist, and I do believe in access. And if singing is the door opener for identity work, like it kind of was for me, right? Even though I had to do the refinement, it was a door opener, then my service to others is helping you get there yourself. So I will be initiating some flavor of a pay what you can lesson day where I will offer, I haven't fully decided yet, between 20 and 30-minute lessons at a tiered price point. So, if all you got is $5, select that and pay that and show up. If you got $10, okay. If you got $20, okay. Um, that again will be like come on, come on, first come, first serve situation. But it will be in order and decency and it will be meaningful. Okay. So look out for details on that. And of course, I will still have my premium voice lesson offering, which will be 50 minutes in person or online with the pay what you can. I'm going to keep that just online, but the premium lessons will be in person or online, depending on preference or location. Um, but for me, I got this little dog, as some of you saw at the beginning, and I work 50, 11 jobs during the day, right, in corporate America, because, the bills is billing. But I do want to keep in mind and to be clear that I can only give my best when I don't feel so stretched thin, right? So I would rather have a few dedicated clients that I see rather than filling up my schedule wall to wall on the only off time I have. Because again, I don't do this full time. I have a full time job and then all the other things. So my hope is that the Pay What You Can Day opens up some access for folks. The Divas Workshop gives people who, may not have as long to commit or may not have the price point, long-term premium commitment, but still want to get some of the same things going. That's my hope with that. And then keeping that premium offering there, and then we'll kind of see what happens and where it goes. So that's basically it. So if you have questions, drop them in the chat. Anything you want to say, drop them in the chat. Um, I will take this and probably splice it up. As soon as I can get to 1,000 followers, I'll move my lives to Mark Zuckerberg's website. Not out of preference. It's just I'm more familiar with that than anything else. But yeah, follow me on Instagram. Get on my email list because I will also be sending out some emails with some special exclusive only opportunities for Divas Workshop participants who are interested in registering. But you're only going to get them on the email list because I can only take 8 people. I can't go over 8 people, and 8 people is my upper number for that workshop. That workshop will be Saturday, earlier afternoons. I have to double check what the time is, but I think it's between 12:30 or 1 p.m. up until like 2:30 for an hour and a half or 2 p.m. I have to double check. Sorry. And again, that will be meeting in Detroit in Corktown. I do have the location, but for safety security reasons, I'll give you the location upon registration. Um, yeah, so if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. You have comments, drop them in the chat. If there's any offerings that you're interested in, that you're curious about, um, hit me up, just DM me. If you have my number, text me. If there's something that you like to see that I haven't done yet, you've got an idea and you're like, hey, I'm actually interested in whatever it is, send me an email. Let's see, I think I can drop my email here anyway. And do not be surprised when you see this thing spliced up again for the gram. And I want to thank all of you for coming. Pre-medication, pre-surgery. Um, Going live would have been the thing that really shook me to my core, that made me super anxious, that I would turn it in this big thing. As you can see, I got stuff all over my bed. My pillow's at my back. My hair is half done. It's just like kind of wrapped up. My dog is down here. I have not put no curtains up yet because I'm lazy. What you see is what you get. It is what it is. We just trying to make it day by day here. Yeah, y'all kind of quiet. Feel like since somebody just showed up, too long, don't read. That's what they do at the bottom of the emails. I'll have a live workshop in Detroit coming up. A Pay What You Can voice day. Not sure how often, but it will be Pay What You Can. 30-minute online lessons. And then my premium lesson openings will be back, but at a more limited scale. So too long, didn't read. I got a puppy. He may show up. He's really naughty. His name is Pharaoh. That's my son. I've had grief and loss in the past 9 months, 10 months now. Really bad grief and loss. Oh, and I got diagnosed with ADHD. I'm medicated on that as well. So I'm way more structured. If you know me, you would be proud of me. All right. So if that is it and all hearts and minds are clear, I want to let you know that I'm very grateful for you showing up. If you have any questions, DM me, text me, email me. My email's in the chat. If you want more information on offerings, get on my email list, go to my Instagram. There's a link there. You can sign up for it and you'll pop up on it. And I'll be doing some communication. But other than that, thank you so much. And I hope to see y'all soon.